feeling more like the leaning tower here, going this way right here.
Exactly.
And that's
my neutral shot, we'll call that a chip, okay? Now pitching, right? Now the handle is even with the ball I'm hitting. And if
I put this always down on the line of my target, right? And all I tried to do all the time was just keep that club right out in front of me. How simple, right? Just help me visualize that straight line and what it was like to actually keep the club in front of me at all times.
The concept of club in front of your body. Put the club right in your belt buckle, stretch your arms out, right? And then take the club back, right? It's in front of my body. Now slip it through your hands, right? That's in front of my body.
That's great. So we're getting right into it right now. And you know what Todd taught me at a young age, which, you know, anybody who's known my game knows short game was my thing. You know, I love practicing it, first of all. And I think we can take a little page from Ben Hogan here. He said, you know, the secret's in the dirt. Now, no matter how well we teach you this, let me tell you, this is a part of the game right here that you have to spend time doing in order to get better. And it's just like anything. You have to put time into it. It's not just simply technique. Of course, our technique is going to give you the path of the least amount of manipulation, stress-free short game through what we're talking about, but you got to put time into it. And then one thing, it's like being in the bunker. You know, it's a different surface. Hitting out of the sand is a complete different mindset than hitting off grass, right? So you need to be in the bunker, hitting shots regularly. But the one thing I would tell you, there's two things that I had. I had a great understanding of how to hit a low shot and a high shot. So I could do anything in between because Todd helped me with the bookends. Okay, I knew exactly what ball position did for me. I knew exactly what face angle did for me. And I knew we had one key thing in the setup that I always hung on to and one key thing in the swing. To me, the number one thing in the setup was stand to the handle. Always keeping the handle or my hands in front of the center of my body, right? So if I had it ball back, look at the handle was still moving with me. If I had the ball forward, the handle was moving with me. Okay, so I had forward shaft lean de-lofting the club for that low shot, right? And that was presetting my impact position. There's the real low one. And Todd helped me say, hey, listen, that's going to be within your first third. It's going to run out 2/3 or more. And then he would help me understand that, okay, now your goal is to fly at 2/3 and let it run out 1/3 or less. And that was the one that would then move forward. And you can see the face went open, stood to the handle. And then the one big thing, watch my head. No backup. That ball came off high and soft, landed like a butterfly with sore feet. Not because I helped it up, but because the loft of the club helped it up. And the shaft angle that I started with, and my understanding that I'm simply just trying to get back to the same place I started.
100%.
That was me breaking it down real quickly into what I learned from Todd. So all I would do was I'd look at the shot I needed. I want it to run. All right, here we go. Ball back, stand to the handle. Always wait on the front foot. Don't back up. Okay? Next one. I want to fly it there. I want it to land soft. Ball forward, face open. I still have weight on the front foot. Okay? For me, all right, return the club right back to where it started. Don't back up. And the not backing up always helped my low point. Always helped me get the club under the golf ball. I always felt like the club not only would clip the ball, but still be in the ground past it. I never had any of that because of the fact that I was told at a very young age, don't back up. So just like our viewers know that we keep the knife to the left side of the temple with the driver, with the chipping, that knife exists right here. And everything just stays forward. So I'll let Todd take it from there. But those are some of the things I learned from Todd that I've never, ever let go of. And I will say, the one thing I'm proud of without practicing much at all these days, because I don't get the chance, I maintain a good short game.
Yeah, 100%. Can I borrow your 60?
Absolutely. Here you go.
You know, so it's interesting. You know, as I've taught more and more short game, you know, I keep wanting to make things, this game is so freaking hard and complex. I keep wanting to make things as simple as possible.
Absolutely.
And to have continuity throughout how I teach different shots, you know. So stance last, always stance last. I don't care if you're putting or hitting a drive. Stance, go on the ground, your feet get adjusted last. So, you know, stand to the handle, just break that phrase down and think, okay, stand to a handle. Well, you got to stand to a handle that's in place. So if I walk up to a shot and I want to hit a low shot like you were talking about, I'm going to put the handle one ball forward. Like if I put a ball to represent this, I'm going to put the handle one ball forward of the handle I'm hitting. There's my low shot. My neutral shot, we'll call that a chip, okay? Now pitching, right? Now the handle is even with the ball I'm hitting. And if I want to hit a lob shot, right, I'll put the ball, one ball behind the ball, or the handle one ball behind, right? So that's adding loft to it. One of the things I always say, which we just talked about, is that, you know, you never want to back up. Why do people back up? They back up because in their mind they think they need to help the ball in the air.
Right.
Well, sometimes people do need to help the ball in the air because they don't have enough loft on the club face for the shot they're trying to hit. So actually they do need to help the ball in the air. However, if I can get loft on the club face in the backswing, I don't need to back up. I've got the loft I need. So I always say, whatever loft you need, make sure you set it at address. And even if you have to rotate the face a little bit more in the backswing, that's okay. But whatever shot I'm trying to hit, I never want to have to back up to add loft. So that's a rule with me in the short game. I love what you just said about, hey, knife right here, right? If I see the head going back in the short game, that's death in the bunker.
We talked about this earlier up on the range. Personal thoughts that I created based upon what he told me.
Yeah.
And those were things that stuck with me. His lesson never went away. But for me, I took his words and I said, well, you know, let's just put a knife right here in my mind.
Yeah.
And what's funny about that was, guess what? I've never backed up on a chip. I know I haven't since he's told me that. It's just, It's in the forefront of my mind every single time.
Yeah,
Beautiful, right there.
As long as you can go that way, the club is gonna go down. Here's some things that I see with amateurs that they struggle with in short game. All right,
Yeah.
so number one in the setup.
Yeah, show me a couple things here.
Number one that I see most amateurs doing that's a problem is they've been taught to put the handle forward. Like, there's actually this old teaching aid called the Punisher, and I agree, it's a Punisher, it'll punish you. Right, so they put, you know, the rod at the end of the grip, and the rod has to go out here. Well, whenever your hands are past your center, your trail shoulder goes down, your lead shoulder goes up, your spine goes backward. Well, you know, we were talking about driving the golf ball. Well, that's where I got that left hip up. Why? Because that kind of sets my body in a position where I can hit up into the ball on a tee. But why would I ever want to look like that to a chip shot, right?
So I see that so much too, Todd. They get in there like this, real low here, not the opposite, and understanding this is going to create an angle of attack that clips the ball for them.
Yeah, and so I always talk about that, hey, if I stand to the handle, that means a couple of things. One, I'm putting the handle in place for the shot, but then it means, well, what's my body do? Well, I want to make sure as I stand at the handle and my hands are at my center, here's the big thing. My spine has to be neutral. Now, you can look like your spine's lower, but that's not really or tilted back. It's not the case. It's just your right shoulder is down, but your spine's neutral.
Only because that right hand's reaching for the golf club the right way.
This way, but that's very different than this, right? So whenever I see someone with the hands forward, then they're tilting back, the right shoulder's down, and the bottom of their golf swing is going to be way too early.
Todd, how do you like this? So, you know, because I'm big on this too. I can't stand seeing this look right here.
Me neither.
So a lot of times what we'll do with our players, with putting and with chipping, is we'll have them grip it cross-handed, leave their body exactly where they are, and just shift the hands back.
Yeah.
And it's a nice way of helping get the shoulders down. But the big thing that he always taught me, this can be much like a putting stroke, especially the bump and run. But you don't want it to be on this angle here. More on this angle here. So for me, when I'm getting my weight forward, it's very different than when I'm getting my weight forward on a wedge shot or a shot up on the range where I'm leaving this alone and I'm bumping my hips. It's me, I'm actually feeling more like the leaning tower here, going this way right here.
Exactly.
And that's
I talk about that a lot.
That was an analogy you gave me when I was a kid.
Leaning tower piece, learn to get
Learn
your
to
weight
lean.
from the top. A lot of people get their weight, you know,
from
left
just the
by
lower body.
and then the upper body's tilting backwards. So you want to always make sure that you're going this way, right?
So think about this.
Yeah,
for the viewer, I mean, this is exactly the opposite, right? We're talking about when we're hitting a driver, we're 1 inch and 1 inch, right? It's meaning 1 inch with the hips, 1 inch with the sternum. Here we are. Now, the weight that's getting forward on our front foot with the wedge, as Todd said, is happening with our upper body. So if you look at my spine, I'm actually physically going this way. Now, even if I took a putting stroke, look at that's going to be at a nice little angle. That's going to pinch the golf ball and not be dragging in all this grass behind it.
100%.
I love it. I love it.
So that's the whole idea of making sure that you get the handle set for the shot you're trying to hit, low, medium, high, chipping, pitching, lob, right? Same thing. And then set your body to the handle, stand to the handle. Have the handle in place before you take your stance. So if I'm gonna hit a chip, it would look like this. And I do like to grip down to the golf club, get closer to the golf ball, but still stay tilted. I see some people, you know, they'll get tall, or they'll get close, but they'll get tall. I hate that because there's no room to go under your body like we talked about. I still want to stay tilted, so I have room for my hands to work under my body.
It's a great visual for our viewer too. Think about connection and chipping on the way through. So if I get into Todd's position for the bump and run, right, I have the ball position right here off my right shoulder, and it's relative to the middle of my body. I think this is a big one too. People try to play the ball back, and they think because they have a narrow stance and they're going to play it on the inside of their back foot that's back. The narrow stance, you guys, is not back if you're just on the inside of your back foot. I'm still measuring that relative to the center of my body. So though some people might have a little wider stance than others, and that might actually be ball back, I'm a narrow stance guy when it comes to bump and runs. I like literally creating a metal pole on my left leg that I feel like I'm rotating around. I don't want any movement side to side. Having a narrow stance with my knees together gives me the stability that I like on these bump and runs. So I'm very conscious of making sure that that ball aligns more with my armpit and really off the right side of my chest. Now, if you watch this, if I stay connected here and don't move anything and I just rotate, look where it is. It's still in the same spot relative to my body.
Exactly where it was.
So for me, and this is what I've always felt based upon what he's taught me, my chest and my hands move together in the backswing. My hip and my grip feel like they move together on the through swing. And that's always what I felt to keep connected in my swing. I like feeling chest and hands together, real stable lower body, hip and grip, everything gets out of the way, and it's all right here.
And you're naturally, when you're taking the club back, you're just naturally, without even thinking about it, you're just adding a tiny bit, probably 2 or 3 degrees of right wrist hinge like this.
And I think it's important for our viewer, we were talking about this earlier, what you need to feel specifically in order to get into these positions.
Yeah.
I'm a kind of guy where I hinge naturally.
Yeah.
So that's me feeling like I'm not doing a darn thing,
Yeah.
but he has a good eye and noticed that there's still angle being added there. So I know for me, I just go where I'm normal.
Just use your chest,
I'm using my
back.
chest, it already sets it perfectly, and then here we go.
Yeah.
I also know that my tendency is to want to drag the handle through with all of my shots. So when I hit the higher shot, I personally have to feel the horse race analogy that you've always used, that I'm gonna let you explain in a second, of everything matching up and having a photo finish. My tendency is to want to go like this.
Yeah. Now you
Okay,
lag.
exactly. I need to feel like I actually get rid of it. Now I have Brian Stark, who's I talked to you about, whose short game has improved greatly. He gets rid of it always, and he's needed to sometimes hold on a little bit to accomplish the exact same thing that I'm accomplishing.
100%.
So understand what a poor grip does to you. It's so common that Todd and I watch golfers come in with that strong right hand.
Ugh.
It's awful. And here's the thing. I can't go any more underneath. So what happens? They end up going over and shutting the face.
Yep. Now you have to add loft.
And now you have to add loft with the body and the hands doing the wrong thing. What's nice about presetting the shaft the way it needs to be, getting the face open a little bit, and the weak right hand. That right hand allows me to open the face more on the way back. When it starts on top, I'm able to actually get it into position right here where the face is open.
Easily.
Easily. And what's nice is, when I rotate through, it's already enough over that it's gonna release open and not be de-lofted to where, exactly right. So when you watch me here, watch. Here's my neutral grip right here. I'll actually get here, here's still neutral, and I'll take my hand and I'll really get my right hand a little weaker. And what that allows me to do, look how high and soft that thing is right there. I mean,
Let's talk, just 1 second. Here's one thing that's I think interesting to you and I. We really understand strong means left on top, right under.
Yes.
Weak means left under, right over. So it's interesting. Like I try to talk in terms individually of the hands. So my left hand is always in its same position.
Exactly
so
right.
when Adam's talking about weak, he's talking about his right hand being more palm toward the ground. Strong means right palm is toward the sky. Neutral would be right palm toward the target. So if we think about what Adam just said, when he's saying weak, just so we understand it, he's just trying to say, hey, let's get the right hand here. That allows him to release the club this way.
I'm not changing this hand.
That's right. So
I'm keeping that the same as the club face.
Right. And by the way, I think a lot of this would help people in the bunker too.
Absolutely.
As far as the loft,
Absolutely.
getting the right hand here, having a lot of loft in the golf club, being able to go through the
Todd,
shot.
one thing you showed me when I was a kid, I mean, I remember this one right here. We'd scoop a little sand out on the club face, and I just used to sit there and learn what it was like to keep the sand on the club face, just right through here.
For a lofted shot.
For a lofted shot. And the whole point being, if I was taking this back farther, I want to throw that right over my shoulder. Okay? And the reason being is, if I had a strong right hand and did that, watch this.
Good luck.
I mean, it's just not going to happen. Look, I can open as much as I want. If I'm here,
can't do it.
It can't. So it's really important to understand, I like leaving this alone. I don't need to weaken my left hand. I like my left hand being where it always would be, okay? I like also understanding, I think this is a mistake I see a lot of golfers. Hey, open the face.
Right.
No. Right. Open the face, get the club on the ground, then take your grip. That's a big one also. That's a mistake I see a lot of golfers make.
If you want to have the system where we talked about, hey, let's grip it from up here, open the face.
Oh yeah, I like
get
that.
The grip, right?
I like that. So this would be neutral right here, right? We talk perpendicular to the ground, and then just
open the face. Now take the grip.
Now take your sand. Yeah.
Right. So you never want to grip the golf club and open the face.
Yes.
Right.
Look what that did. Look what I did. It got the handle away from me. I'm no longer standing to the handle. I have my hands in the wrong position. There's nothing's going to match up. But
you're screwed up.
You're screwed up. But what really is nice though, guys, it's important to understand, to not have the edge digging in too much. Stand to the handle. Keep the connection between the center of your body and hands. And I always have a quote: ABR. Always be rotating.
I love that.
Always be rotating. ABR.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. And that's something I learned from you. And as long as I was rotating,
we're fine.
We're fine. We're fine. The bottom of my swing's in front.
Rotating over the front left side. So I could rotate over the back side and I'm in trouble.
Look at the sand that I dumped off here, okay? I'm hitting a chip shot. Watch that sand leave. The low point is not back here. I'm pitching right through that right there. And you can see that was ball, turf passed. That was as a result of connection and constant rotation. Connection and constant rotation. If I stop rotating, look what happens. Momentum just drops right there. If I back up, I'm right there. So, these are just, I'm kind of nerding out right now. I had a moment back here when I was listening to you talk, and it just felt like I was 13, 14 years old again. I'm sitting here, it's like, tell him, Todd. Because I remember I watched him, and what I loved about Todd was, to me, the conviction at which he spoke, he knew it was correct. And I knew based upon how passionate he was about telling me what he was telling me, how correct it actually was. And what I loved was I never left one lesson with Todd not seeing the results immediately.
Especially in the short game.
It wasn't the tear down and hope to build up. It was, hey, that just got a lot easier, a lot quicker. Yeah. But one thing that and this is where I have to credit myself a little bit, I was a student of the game and I really enjoyed learning this. So for me, it was not just about wanting to do it well and the desire to be perfect, but I really enjoyed understanding the two things you always told me. There's the guy who wants to know exactly how the watch is made, and there's one that just wants to know what time it is.
Yeah.
I like being the guy to know exactly how the watch is made up front, and by the time I'm playing, I just don't want to know what time it is.
Yeah.
And meaning, and that for me, that is, hey, tell me all the technicalities. Tell me the things I need to know so I can build this foundation. But then
you have conviction too.
Yeah, but then you have conviction. You're convinced. But then it's like, okay, well, I just need to feel this and this in order to get there.
Right.
And really, I've got to the point, you guys, where it's literally, okay, a bump and run. Okay, here we go. It's ball here, stand to the handle right here, club face there, and all right, let's just chest and hands together, hips and hands together. Okay. Then all of a sudden, and then we call that the chip. Here's my pitch shot. Stand to the handle. I always open the face a little bit to deaden the ball flight. I put the handle right to the middle of my body. And here we go. Just keep rotating. Okay, and what's nice about that shot, you know why I like that shot so much, is like Todd said, you can always hit that shot. I can hit that in a circumstance where I need to have the ball stop immediately and just take the 10, 15-footer behind the hole and be safe.
Yeah.
Prevent the big number.
Yeah. One other thing crossed my mind while we're talking about this. Everything that we're talking about is built on not being able to, not wanting to back up, but not wanting to hit off my back leg, is built on the club in front of us. So here's, I think, one of the big problems in the short game with most amateurs. So here's a rule for any shot. The club has to stay in front of the trail shoulder, right? So the minute you chip the golf ball and you get the club behind your trail shoulder, you're in trouble, right? Because now you got to get it somehow around there. And so ultimately, when I take it back, the club's still in front of my trail shoulder, so I'm never stuck. So if I'm pitching the ball, it might look like this. If I'm chipping the ball, it might look like that. If I'm hitting a lob shot, it might look like that, right? But guess what? The club head's always in front of my
Always in front of you.
It's not out here, and it's not in here. It's just in front of my trail shoulder, right? So I'm never
Beautiful.
stuck. I can always go through and not have to back up. So those are the most important things, I think, around the short game.
So Todd talked to me about that. I'm gonna show him one last drill because some people are. I mean, the majority of us, and understand, guys, we get it. Your body turns this way. It's very easy for the club to go that way also. Your body then up there turns in this direction. It's very easy for the club to go that way. So a lot of people struggle with it, right? But for this shot, it's the takeaway is after the setup, everything, and it's really your second setup. Your second setup's right here.
Yeah.
I should be able to hold that. And this is what Todd actually used to have me do hidekis all the time. I mean, you had me do this all the time, Todd. I remember you would have me get into the right position for the shot I wanted to hit and then rotate through.
Yep.
And that was awesome. He would just tell me the shot I needed. Say I wanted the little lower, tighter one. I'd get right here. He'd have me guarantee it's in a good spot, rotate through. And that was cool. But one thing I did when I left seeing Todd, because I did have an inside takeaway for a lot of my career when I was younger, I put this always down on the line of my target, right? And all I tried to do all the time was just keep that club right out in front of me. How simple, right? Simple like that. You could put either a golf ball right behind here as well. Something that just helped me visualize that straight line and what it was like to actually keep the club in front of me at all times. That was important. So, don't be afraid to put things on the ground. Give yourself a train track for what you're trying to accomplish. I worked really well with something in my way like that. Even putting like a little range basket back here, something to help yourself keep the club in front of you.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly important.
Here's a cool little thing too for that. It's because, we're talking about the target line, right? I could have the club, let's say this is the line I wanted the ball on.
Okay, Kev, come here.
I could have the club go back like this, and that to me is bad because I didn't use my chest.
Yep.
And I could take the club back like this, and it actually looks like it's inside, but it's really behind. So say that my chest was like this, I have no problem with that. I have a big problem with this.
Yes.
Right? So here's a cool way to think about and understand the concept of club in front of your body. Put the club right in your belt buckle, stretch your arms out, right? And then take the club back, right? It's in front of my body. Now slip it through your hands, right? That's in front of my body. So understanding I don't want independence. I don't want my arms to swing independently of my body. I want to keep the club, my body, and my arms all working together. And it's simple. If you had a medicine ball and I said toss it on the green, right? You wouldn't go like this. You wouldn't go like that. You'd go, okay, I'm going to use my body, keep everything in front. So I never have to stall out.
I love that. And our golf, our viewers have seen this a lot from me. Think about the golf swing. So this is my dad would always have me do this after Todd. He heard Todd. And one thing I loved about my dad would really, he let us have our time. Sometimes send me out to Chicago on my own.
Yeah.
But he was great about educating himself on what it was that I needed to do better. How many times my dad would turn around the driving range, look back at me and go, "Can you show me what that hip bump looked like that Todd talked to you about?" And I was just like, that was just his smart ass way of telling me bump your hip, and I go, yeah, it looks like this, Dad, okay, But no, how about this? The big thing Dad always talked about was like, we'll take it to the golf swing, for example. He'd have me go like this and turn and face my chest and make sure that I was there. He had me work on that all the way to the top of my swing and make sure that I was always in front of me.
Yep.
Same thing is
don't
true
have to
right
stall
here.
out if the club's in front
Absolutely.
of you.
So
Club and arms.
Here we go, right? It's the same thing right here, right? Boom. Well, look, if I turn and face it, there I am right in front of me. So it's an easy way to check.
You never have to stall
Absolutely.
out. And
Never
it comes
have to.
back to, I never, like I said, why is more important than what.
Yep.
Because if I back up, I have to ask myself, well, why is he backing up? Does he need more loft or is the club behind him? It's probably one of those two.
One of those two.
Right, so if I can keep the club in front and have the appropriate loft in the face for the shot I'm hitting, I never have to back up and I can always accelerate through.
One thing he had me do too, you guys, to just prove the no backup, he used to do this to me in the bunkers all the time and on flop shots. I don't know if you remember you doing this with me, but you'd have me put it up here. And watch this, Kev, come around the front of me here. So like, guys, I would normally play my high flop shot like right here. This is where I normally would play it. Okay? Came off nice there. Now watch. He'd have me put it up there, and watch what my upper body would have to do. And what's funny is, guess what? That was even higher, softer than the one I just hit.
Yeah, I do that in the bunker all the time.
That's what you had me do in the bunker. That's when my bunker play got great.
Yeah.
Was when you put that ball way up there.
Where I had to go get it.
Yeah, and the thing about it is I tell people in the bunker all the time, Guys, I know you're hitting an inch or two behind it, but guess what? That's not the low point of your swing.
No.
That's where you're entering the sand.
That's right.
That low point's down past that ball and past it. And, you know, so it got that. Then I left that thinking, okay, what I need to think is an imaginary golf ball underneath the golf ball. And I used to attack that golf ball, and man, my bunker play got good right away as a result. So
Yeah, 100%.
it's pretty cool, you guys. I mean,
Some good stuff there.
That's really good stuff.
Right.
At Forzak Golf, we take a lot of pride in having developed some of the best and most consistent golf swings on the planet. We do this through simplicity. Our Full Swing Masterclass will take you on a step-by-step, easy-to-understand process on how to get your golf swing better than ever. Join the many before you who've utilized our Full Swing Masterclass to take their games to the next level and beyond.